Well, the insurance salesman story is by far the most classic, and all those that participated in it are either ashamed or proud of the fact. But Bill, there was some guy around campus over at the college who was making appointments, and under the pretext of doing something, when it turned out Bill knew it was an insurance man.
He had gotten the faculty's office hours and so on, and one of the and their names and all about them from one of the administrators there and at the college, and he was going around to them and during their office hours to sell them whatever he was selling and do all this kind of thing, and he would just go from office to office and so on. And he came by my place while I was really swamped with the stuff I was working on, and we had some stuff we were turning out, papers we were turning out. And he said, well, maybe I could catch you at another time. And I said, well, I don't know. He said, how about this evening? Well, okay, we're going to have a religious service there a little later, but that's okay. And I don't know why I said that.
So he got a bunch of his friends together, told them about this, and said, hey, come on over. We're going to have a religious ceremony. You can do whatever.
It's supposed to be hippie styles who were into our contemplating our navel or whatever else kind of religious ceremony we could put on.
He dressed up in his lederhosen and got the house looking as weird as possible. It always looked unusual anyway, but then he brought out stuff from hiding, so they put it all around, all these little machineries and piano pneumatics around the house, and so he was ready. And meanwhile, the neighbors and friends got together in a house that was next door. Was it the next door neighbors? Yeah, they got together next door and planned all these things they were going to do. Well, the guy came over and he started talking to Dad on the couch, and Roland Richards, I think, was one of the first people to come in, and he came in acting very drunk.
Jug in his hand, and he was wearing some, I forget what outfit, but he was real wide-eyed, and he says, "Can I use your bathroom?" And, okay, yeah. He put the jug down and he got in and he started gargling. I had to sit there and keep from laughing while this guy, while I was going, he said, "That's a strange noise." Well, I said, he can't find words.
And then more friends started coming in and doing all these strange things.
And lo and behold, we're all there, and you have Ron Shower with his big belly sticking out and a medallion on it, and Bill Dowell with some hippie type medallions, and I don't remember what the rest of us had, and we're sitting around with a candle on the floor in the addition as the guy comes in and starts talking to Bill, and we're going hum, hum, and then went out to the Eric Calliope and played chords that sounds something right out of the, the Phantom of the Opera or something like this, and these sounds were coming.
Pretty soon this Calliope fired up. Well, that Calliope was noisy. I had it hooked up to a vacuum cleaner motor, and it had much higher pressure than it would have been otherwise. And they started playing the Calliope, and he says, "What the hell is that?" And I said, "Well, they're meeting at our house because we have the Calliope in our chapel." And from there it kind of went downhill. They were very good. They were Ron Shower and Roland. They'd never met each other, but my father had left me some golf clubs, which I never used, but they found the golf clubs in there, and they were out there, and Ron would lie on the floor, and he was had a pot belly anyway, and he'd put the golf ball in his navel, and Roland would hit them with the golf club into the other room.
They all dressed up in various odd costumes, and I remember Mom was dressed up like an Indian, and there were so many stories of people doing cartwheels through the living room, and people singing on the piano, and people worshiping candles, and all the while Dad's trying to conduct this interview with this person, and the people got more persistent and more persistent.
At some point, they actually cut the power to the house to douse all the lights, and it's getting pretty late and dark by this point anyway. And then they come all chanting in with a candle, and they bring the candle to the front of the house on the chest there, and then they just start bowing to it and chanting to it and writhing on the floor. And the guy finally, they just had enough of it, looked at his watch. Dad said it was so dark in there, he couldn't have possibly seen anything on his watch. He said, I gotta go. And he jumped over all these writhing bodies, got out the door, and left.
Lo and behold, he gets out the door. He can't have been gone more than 2 minutes. We discover he left his big notebook and all of his material underneath the sofa in his haste to get out of the house. So he had to come back. And of course we went back into the play mode, and he knocks on the door to get that, and everybody's going hum, hum.
The guy came in, stepped over the writhing bodies again, picked up his stuff, and stepped over the writhing bodies again, and left. But it's one of the more famous stories of Bill and his parties.